Let the memes begin because this is absolute ecstasy, joy, happiness, rapture. And we sit here as neutral fans, but Afghanistan have beaten England. England have got, or should I say 69, because they've lost by 69 runs. And Gurkirat and Nick's join us right now. I mean, just talk to me, boys. Take it away. Nikhil, your smile tells it all, man.
I mean, I don't think I was this happy yesterday as well. And and again, this is not about England losing. To be very honest, it may be a bit, but it's about Afghanistan winning. It's about a side that has struggled to put together wins. They have one win in so many attempts, and so to be able to do it in a T20 game, you feel okay. They have a chance. They have a sniff. Something has to go right. But to do that in an ODI, you have to do a lot of things right. And boy, they were right on the ball, right from the first ball of the game. Chris Wokes down the leg side maybe just summed up England's day. Just not there, and a very, very shocking defeat for England.
Shocking defeat. It's that Lagan dialogue. Gurkirat, tum sala अंग्रेजी लोग क्या कर रहे हैं?
मेरे को अंग्रेज बना दिया वाह. No, but a great result. And when we were doing the previews, we thought that this could be a slippery game, given how pitches are traditionally in Delhi. But after the first two games, I think no one thought that the pitch could be like this. But credit to Afghanistan, they never let any partnership develop for starters, wherein England could get comfortable. And then just the way the spinners bowled. I mean, I loved how Nabi bowled. He was so good with his pace and lengths, hardly bowled anything full. And then the dew did come in later on, but even with the dew, how the spinners bowled, it's not easy for the spinners to grip the ball when the dew's there, but they used it to good effect by skidding a few deliveries. So you can't take this win away from Afghanistan. So yeah, they'll definitely celebrate. And we saw some support for Afghanistan in the ground, and that's because there are some Afghan refugee students who study in Delhi. There are pockets where Afghanistan refugees do stay. It would be a great moment for them.
Absolutely. And it's that holy trinity, right, Nix? Mujib, Nabi, and Rashid. Three for Rashid, two for Nabi, and three for Mujib as well. Where was the game won, gentlemen? Because essentially we were thinking 111 for no loss. Am I rubbing my eyes? But like, Nix, talk to me. Did they win it with the bat in hand or the ball in hand?
Yeah, of course you have to do a lot of things right, but I think that little knock from Ikram Ali, the miss stumping that Butler had of Livingstone's bowling, allowed Bangladesh to get to that total. And again, this is a 220, 230 chase. England approached it completely different, or something like that. It's a 240 chase, you approach different. Now when you get above 280, you still want a good start. So, and they had that little room with the power play, and based to God, I don't know how you want to call that decision. I found it iffy, but they still got it. But even after that, they didn't allow them to get away with it. So I think to me it was in two phases. First is the Gurbaz start, because without that you wouldn't have the platform. But then it was that Ikram Ali finished with everybody scoring. Rashid scored some runs, Mujib scored some runs. So I think it was a collective effort, and it will be hard to single out one point because there were just so many great moments right through the game.
Absolutely. Remember, this is only Afghanistan's second win in World Cup history for them in terms of ODIs. Who did they beat before? Scotland. Who do they beat today? England. So there's something about the UK that they don't like. You might have won the war,
Yeah, so
England.
maybe,
Okay, let me go there. Let me not go there. Go on.
so maybe
Gurkirat.
the next team that they're beating is Ireland. That would make for a good pattern. But I was just talking about the partnerships now. Malan and Root had a partnership of 30. Malan and Brook had a partnership of 35. Butler and Brook had a partnership of 23. Livingston broke 26. Next partnership was 21, 22. And then Rashid and Wood had a partnership of 29. So it tells you, like, Afghanistan got a wicket whenever they needed. They didn't really allow any partnership to develop. And somewhere, yes, Afghanistan bowled well, but you would feel that maybe England batters could have also worked on their shot selection a little better. Some of the shots they could have genuinely done better. I felt that the moment where Afghanistan really got into the game was Malan's wicket, because Malan's someone who's played spin well in this side, and once he was dismissed, I think England, they were in a spot of bother where they did not really know now who will anchor the innings, because Root was dismissed, Malan was dismissed, and then all of it came to to Butler, because I don't think Brook was going to be that guy who would anchor the innings. And yeah, from there on, just the floodgates open for Afghanistan to just do their thing.
You're absolutely spot on, my friend Gukirat. I'll tell you what, we'll just reflect the match summary for all you guys who missed it on this Super Sunday. And as you can see, do not rub your eyes. Afghanistan 284 playing England 215 and winning by 69 runs. And an absolute treat to the eye for all the neutrals around the world watching this. And not to forget the Afghanistan fans, like Gukirat said. So just to recap, Gurbaz, of course, getting that all important 80 at the start of the day. And then you look at all the other things which has gone on. We apologize for that little spelling mistake. His name's not Ali Kil. His name is Ikram for sure. I'm going to slander Ritesh in due course. But look, the all-important telling line is 69 runs, and they won an absolute brilliant one. It's a Delhi the marker, to be fair, with regards to this. And what this does in terms of the points table, gentlemen, is that, oh my God, who would have thought that the five-time champions Australia are the bottom of the pack right now? I know Afghanistan haven't overtaken England, but look, we were all talking about how Afghanistan might not even get a win this World Cup. Even the guys in the chat in the preview, if you guys saw that, were just not giving Afghanistan even the slightest glimpse, but they've done the miracle. And this is such a good day in cricket. Nix, is this like the upset of the decade so far? Because I know we're just 3 years in, but like surely this is one of the standout upsets in World Cup history.
Yeah, it definitely goes right up there because it's the magnitude of the difference between the two sides in terms of what they have at their disposal, how they've gone about things. One solitary win so far, in all their World Cup appearances, and then to go on and beating defending. It's again, Josh Butler may not use the word defending champions, but still they still are. So to go down on them, and again on a wicket where you feel Kotla wicket, how will they get those runs? How will they get that wickets going? England have batting depth. Where is the batting depth? I mean, there are so many things that you can counter. That do Afghanistan have this? Do Afghanistan have this? What about Mark Wood? What about Reece Topley? They just found a way to make the most of conditions. And yes, the pitch may not have behaved how England expected it to be, but for Afghanistan to still do what they have, it definitely goes up into a part of folklore that it's very tough to beat this. The previous time this was done, defending champions beaten by low run side was in 1983. When else has this happened? I can't remember any other such instance because mostly it's an England thing to do. You pick one team and then lose to them. But defending champions be beaten the lower rank sides. I don't think it's happened very often.
You're spot on, Nikhil Popat, because 4 decades ago, that stat you've just thrown out over there, and cricket folklore 100%. Good kid, lots of people getting chatty in the comments, so keep them coming through. Do you think England took this game too lightly? Asked Aditya Jain. They could have closed Afghanistan England much earlier. Was it a case of complacency from England and company?
I'm not sure about the complacency bit, because see, when they got that wicket of Gurbaz, and Rashid got those two wickets, they felt that yes, there is some grip in the pitch, and so Butler rightly got even Root into the attack. Root got that wicket, so I feel, yeah, probably what they could have avoided is those few runs in the last 4 5 overs where Mujib scored that 16 ball 28. I think that is something that they could have looked to avoid. But yeah, apart from that, I don't think that they were complacent. They just didn't bowl well, especially the pacers up front. I thought spinners did a decent job, and then with the bat, it's something that we had discussed earlier. We've often discussed in reviews that against spin they could get stuck, and that's what happened. I think 8 wickets have fallen to spin today, so there's probably a template for other teams to how to attack England with. I mean, if who did they play South Africa next, if I'm not wrong, or do they play Sri Lanka next? Yeah,
South
South
Africa.
Africa. They play South Africa next, so South Africa would have definitely seen this game. So they'll probably even be asking Aiden Markram to work more on his bowling in the nets, and see how it works out. Even though the game's in Wankhede where the pitch may not have this much of grip, but still there's an obvious weakness for now teams to exploit.
Absolutely. By the way, really love the comments coming through, and everyone's just jumping on the cricket.com bandwagon right now because look, we always do reviews, and this one is probably giving us the most joy, especially from Nikhil Gurkirat in my perspective. So keep your comments coming through, and there's so much to digest in this one. We'll start with, of course, the top performer because we have a few surprises in this one. Who is your man of the match, Nikhil Popat? Is it Gurbaz or is it someone else?
I'll have to first give it to Gurbaz. I feel however they bowled well. I think the man of the match actually is Mujibur Rahman, which is not a bad shout. But I felt Gurbaz was the one who set it up nicely for them. 80 from 57 balls, he looked absolutely unstoppable there. No chances given there. If I can recall correctly, 8 fours, 4 sixes, that strike rate, and he went after everybody. It wasn't that he was having mercy on some kid, okay, let's not go after him. But he set the tone for them. And of course, with the ball, when there was grip, expect the spinners to come into the play. I think Mujib's over to Wokes might be the one that might be replayed for a long time. Because it was beautifully set up in the way he used the googly and then he used his variation as well. And so deservedly man of the match Mujib there, but I wouldn't have minded this. And you wouldn't complain actually. Today I don't care who's gotten the man of the match in this game because they could share it as long as they have won this game. That award can take care of itself.
Gurkirat, be honest with me. Did you expect that start? 111 for no loss. They were going at great guns. In fact, that one shot he played of Mark Wood to uppercut him for six reminded me of like Sehwag against like all those Pakistani bowlers. I mean, what did you like about the opening stand in particular? Because he spoke about it in the preview as well.
Yeah, so Nicholas rightly mentioned how he went after every bowler, but one very small detail of that partnership was that he was sort of shielding. I don't know if it was by design or it just happened by default, but he was sort of shielding Ibrahim Zadran from playing toply. So not sure if that was the plan or if it just happened, but yeah, that is what partnership batting was. And you guys know what I said in the group about that run out. Like everyone knows, nothing pisses me more in a cricket game than a run out. Like if I was the coach, I'll ask the batters ki bhai tum 11 ke 11 log hit wicket out ho jao, but run out nahi hona. So that is how much I hate runouts, and I was really so angry at Hashmatullah Shahidi that what have you done? And I felt that at the halfway stage, I felt that Afghanistan probably could have gotten 40 more, then the game would have been even more interesting. But they've still managed to win by a pretty handsome margin, so can't really complain. And I just want those who are watching to just take a screen grab of this. This is what happened when England loses. Everyone's happy, regardless of which team do you support. Everyone's happy.
Everyone is happy. What a way to end the weekend, which has been an absolute delightful one, especially from an Indian fan, seeing England lose and, of course, beating Pakistan. Now, time to throw some trivia and, of course, stump Gurkirat and Knicks if I can, because cricket.com has some sumptuous stats, guys. Now, most wickets by spinners in a World Cup match. We saw 13 today, 8 for Afghanistan and 5 plus for England. So that's 13. We've seen 14 twice. Can you name me those two games, gentlemen? One came in 2003, one came in 2011.
2003. So फिर Sri Lanka game could be possible. 2003 wala.
Close but no cigar. It was actually Kenya versus Sri Lanka, right? Next Nairobi 2003.
And
2011.
It has to involve Ireland or Ireland.
No, I'll give Gurkirat the clue. 2011 involves a country that you really desperately want to seek solace at, Gurkirat.
I don't want to seek solace anywhere, but yeah,
Canada?
I was actually
Canada.
I was actually going to come up with that Pakistan Canada game because Shahid Afridi took a fifer. It was a low scoring game. Pakistan were all out for around 186, 187, something like that, and then Shahid Afridi had taken a fifer. In fact, in that game there was also a fight because Canada had one player named Balaji. I think he was a left-handed batter and a left-arm spinner. So yeah, but I didn't really remember the number. I didn't remember the number, but I was going for that game because it was a low scoring game in Sri Lanka. Afridi had taken 5. So I was going to take that guess once you mentioned 2011.
Close,
or my other guess
versus Zimbabwe.
Oh,
okay.
Nagpur,
no clue.
which is insane. By the way, with this win, let me just put it out there. I know I said at the top of the show, they've ended a 14-match losing streak in ODI World Cups, which is madness. So well done, Afghanistan. Remember, the most consecutive defeats in ODI World Cups still remains with Zimbabwe, 18 from 1983 to 1992. So Afghanistan have a monkey off their back. We'll take some questions because this is such a talk-worthy game. But before that, I have to put the boys to another big question, which is, of course, the turning point. What was it then, Nikhil? Turning point, because so much in terms of ebbs and flows, but one moment which defined the game, or was there a culmination of moments?
Yeah, I would say it was combination of many moments, but if I had to pick one moment, I'll pick the lower order partnership that they had, because at one point of time they were 190 for six. So to go from 190 for six to ending up at 284, it's a very good effort. So I'll probably say the 50 for Ikram Ali Hill and contributions from Rashid and Mujib to get them to that score is where I felt they had the total in their grasp. From 190, you would have expected England to keep them to 240, 250, but that didn't happen. They got that extra cushion of score. So I probably feel that is the turning point of the game.
Gurkirat, do you echo those thoughts, or do you see it differently?
Yeah, a few, like how Nikhil mentioned that lower order partnership. I felt that England had the batting to chase it, but I feel in the chase that Malan wicket is where things got really tight for England. So I'll go with that.
Okay, Milan for sure. Lots of questions coming in, boys, and we'll have to, of course, pay heed to them.
And by
Darshan
the way,
said,
this was only Malan's second dismissal to off spin.
bro, but Nabi honestly looked like Ashwin at times, man. I know he got Karan out and Milan up, but it
That's
was
that's
insane.
because he was bowling slow and not full.
Take
Right
a
through
bow.
the World Cup, by the end of the World Cup, there will be so many snippets of me and Paji just talking about pace and which spinners have to put pace, slow, spin, pace. यही बोलते रहेंगे हम लोग.
Okay, so answer Darshan said this question, boys, because there's so many questions coming through, and I'd love to see that. Were England potentially one batter short? And more it thinks about the root and Milan factor, guys. One of them surely has to set up stall at the other end, right, Nikhil?
Yeah, but see, it's a bridge that they've already taken on. Okay, we want a lot of all rounders, and we've said it almost 1,000 times that you can have 10 all rounders playing in your side, but those 10 have to be able to be quality to step up under different circumstances. Now, did they miss Ben Stokes? I don't know who would he have played for. There isn't any place for it. You use Livingston and Root smartly because Topley got injured. You wanted to cover up for Vokes, which is fine. But you need Vokes with the new ball as well. But he hasn't come off so far, which is fine. Topley got injured. That just tells you even more that why you needed so many bowling options. Maybe why they have so many bowling options. That they have David Willey waiting, they had Gus Atkinson waiting in the wings because they know the fitness could be a concern for both Wood and Topley. So you understand the construct, but the problem is, as you said, in such scores, if it's going to slow down, you need one of your top four to bat team. And if that doesn't happen, every team in the world will find it difficult to combat these kind of wickets because they don't play on such wickets often. So you're not going to get used to, okay, what are my boundary options? Where do I go? I think Brook, in that regard, played very well for his time at the crease. But you see, apart from him and Gurbaz, nobody else looked, settled or of that sort on this wicket. Ikram Ali also played handy innings down the order, but everybody else felt like, okay, they're just waiting for the bad ball to come. So I don't know if they were a batter shot, to be honest.
Also, another thing that I want to add, on such pitches, the worst thing that you can do as a batter is get caught at the crease. You either have to be fully forward or you have to be fully back to sort of either you play after the ball has turned or you play before the ball is turning. So many England batters were dismissed while playing from the crease or caught at the crease. So if that is going to happen, you are going to be in trouble. And they would have brought Stokes in, and while Stokes is great and everything, I'm not sure on these kind of pitches he could be that answer. And again, where would he have batted? Would he have batted at 4 or would he have batted at 5? Him starting versus spin is something that has not really ended well. And see, you had Karan at 7 and Vokes at 8 and Rashid at 9. So there is more than decent enough batting. So and the only I actually thought that the if you look at that top four, the person who's actually struggled the most against spin scored the most runs. I mean, Bairstow had an iffy decision, and we could really have so far. DRS has given us enough content that we can do another show on it. But yeah, maybe Root and Malan could have done better than what they did. Both of them were again dismissed while playing from the crease, and both of them are better than that.
Sometimes you need lady luck, and England didn't have that today. And who cares, honestly? Because sometimes to see England lose, like you said, boys, is good to see. And obviously, all you guys are chucked in the comments. Please like this video and subscribe, you guys, and you, because if you guys don't do it today, when the hell will you guys do it?
I think today in the review show we have had the highest audience for a non-India game.
I know, right? But Gukida, it makes me ask you this question from India Peter Pan. England still making it to the semis, you feel? Because you just mentioned they take South Africa on at the Wankhede, which is, of course, a new venue in this World Cup. And obviously, with Ben Stokes on the sidelines, whether he comes back in or not, it's still iffy. Moeen Ali didn't play today. We were laughing about the Afghanistan think tank, but it's been Jonathan Trott's day out for sure. But coming back to England, do you think they can make the top four, or do you think goodbye, tata, khatam, bye bye?
They'll really have to now, pick a few wins against a few sides who we initially thought they could really lose those games to. Now they have a fixture against Sri Lanka. They have a game against Netherlands. So these two games they should definitely win. That makes it 3 wins out of 5, and out of the remaining 4, which are versus India, uh, India. There's Pakistan and which side I'm forgetting. Uh, there's one team I'm forgetting: Australia, India, Pakistan, and South Africa. Yes. So out of these four games, they will have to win a minimum of 3. If you think they can beat Pakistan, then again out of the remaining 3, they'll still have to win 2. So how they'll have to really figure out how to get past the line versus India or South Africa. So the next game versus South Africa could be a good start, because if they beat South Africa, they'll take a lot of confidence, and it's not going to be easy for them because we've so far seen that South Africa are batting very well. That top 6 sort of looks impregnable right now. So and England's bowling has not been the greatest. Vokes has not picked up wickets with the new ball. If he could do it, that the next game at Wankhede could be the best time to start doing it.
Yeah,
So yeah. So if England win the next game, they are pretty much in still with the hunt. But if they don't win the next game, then it could get really difficult, because they might have to win 5 on the trot, which is
absolutely.
not going
And I
to be
think they
easy.
play, I think Pakistan in Kolkata as well, which will be a tasty affair. And I'm pretty sure those two teams will be fighting for those 2 points over there. Right. Both of you guys have so many questions to answer right now. Really, really appreciate all you guys in the chat right now. Darshan again asking a very valid question, saying, following on what Nikhil said, how would England bring Stokes back into the 11 if they took the trouble to bring him out of retirement? Surely they have to field him in. And Im Sanjay asked you the same question, Nick. Who will he come in for? Ben Stokes? Sure.
See, the one player that only comes to my mind right now is Vokes.
Mhm.
I don't see anybody else dropping out. It might make them not have those 120 bowling options that they want to have, but then they'll have to compromise somewhere or take a harsh call, whichever way they want to go about it. Because I don't think you can drop Groove just yet. He hasn't done anything to get dropped in the first place. Based on Malan plays, Root plays, Butler plays. Livingston's form, is it iffy? Can you play both Livingston, Sam Curran? Maybe depending on the day. So again, it will be from one of those 3 all-rounders that what because Livingston's batting form has also been a bit of concern for them. So, but you still have to remember they have to play Stokes at the right venue. A lot of this World Cup, I'll keep harping on it. It will come down to reading the conditions well, and who do you think will suit something like that. So if England are playing South Africa, India, and that Ahmedabad game, we probably feel Stokes could find a way to get a performance out in those venues. But then you'll have to be very careful in how you pick and choose, because you still have to nail the bowling aspect. Their bowling was again that was in concern today. So you have Chris Wokes also, who's not bowling well. So do you replace him with David Willey? So you can do plenty of things because there are a lot of names, but those names haven't got a lot of good form or good numbers behind them. So you can make the place for everybody, but they'll have to just click together as a unit because time will run out elsewhere.
It will definitely. It just makes me ask you who is the better Rashid, because Rashid got Rashid out in the first innings, Rashid got Rashid out in the second innings. Both got three first. Absolutely brilliant. And even Rehmat Jalal, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, man, because I'm guessing you must have been delighted with this win. Bowling rotation from Hashmat. How is it today? Gurkira, just talk to me about how Afghanistan operated with their bowlers. I think they held Rashid back for a while because, of course, they had the weapons of Mujib early on. Was that a good call? The fact that they got a couple of breakthroughs and then they held their main asset back?
Today, you could say it was understandable because they had gotten those wickets. But the other way to look at it is that had he been brought on earlier, maybe the game could have been closed even before that, because Butler has at times struggled against his spin. So, but Rashid coming on to bowl early is something I don't see happening in Afghanistan cricket. It's not going to happen. Maybe that's the constitution. It's written in the constitution of Afghanistan cricket board. I don't know, but overall, I just feel they just kept going, like, as they got those openings, they just figured out. So when Butler was dismissed, they figured, okay, now we could bring another spinner on. And then when Sam Curran was there, he felt, okay, I might as well throw the ball to throw the ball to Nabi, because that's what he did with Malan as well. Even though Malan's played off spin very well, so I just think though a lot of those calls were just going by, okay, here's a left-hander, I might as well bring in an off spinner. Here's this batter, I might as well go back to him. Livingston had struggled versus Rashid in T20s and IPLs. He's also I think in IPL also he's been dismissed to Rashid couple of 2 or 3 times. So maybe it could have been Rashid just going up to Hashmatullah saying that, okay, I want to bowl to Livingston, because he's actually gotten Livingston out in that manner. A couple of times he's gotten him out LBW with the googly. So there's been not that obvious weakness. Don't know if it was just Hashmatullah or it was just Rashid saying, okay, I want to get the ball. Because sometimes bowlers, when they have that confidence, they can also go to the captain. So it's good if that has happened, because sometimes you need more than one thinking mind at the field. We discussed this when Nikhil and I wasn't there, but Nikhil and Sumesh were discussing this post the Australia South Africa game, that maybe they need to involve Warner and Smith a lot more in that leadership group, because sometimes it is possible for a bowling captain to not be able to think of everything else because there's so much of calculation going on.
Yeah.
And both Smith and Warner have enough experience of playing in Indian conditions, knowing how players will play in these conditions, etc., 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 to come up with valuable insights and input. So if that can happen with Afghanistan cricket, there we could actually see them getting tactically better. It could actually be the best thing to happen to them.
Okay. Remember, Afghanistan, they played 2 games in Delhi. Now they'll play 2 games in Chennai. And in quick time, 18th of October, they take on New Zealand. And then 23rd of October, they take on Pakistan, which will be an absolute sensational clash. Melville saying, by the way, Gurki, that's a live prediction with Butler score. Nick stating Afghanistan winning right after it. It all came true. I'll tell you why. These guys are soothsayers. They might just look like normal cricket experts, but these guys get their stuff spot on. I guess want to ask you guys, is this Afghanistan's biggest achievement in the gentleman's game? Because you look back at all those years ago, Nikhil, 2010 T20 World Cup in the West Indies. I think they made their debut in the ICC tournaments. And now 2023, is this their biggest scalp they've ever kind of claimed in cricket?
They're very tough to argue against it. Or this is as good, as big as it can get. And also the format. I'll keep going back to the format. It's not a T20. It's not a 3-hour thing where you just had a couple of guys do well, a couple of guys came off with the bat, a couple of guys came out with the ball. No. 50 overs for a decent amount of time from the first ball was bowled, you felt Afghanistan had a chance. And that is something that doesn't happen very often. So definitely one of the best days in Afghanistan cricket history. And may there be many more. That's all that I'm wishing for from here.
Absolutely.
And just one thing I want to say, because I've said this before, that even if the conditions are such that batting could get better in the second innings, batting first is actually that suits Afghanistan, because with their bowlers, I just feel that if they have too big of a target to chase, there's just too much pressure on that opening pair, because they know that we can't really rely on 3 4 5 to do much, and that scoreboard pressure gets to them. So today I think obviously batting was not as easy. In the second innings we saw the ball gripping and everything, but I just feel they are that kind of a side which should really look to bat first, until unless conditions are like, okay, we could lose 3 wickets in the first 10 or first 15. If that is not happening, they are a side that should prefer batting first, because that way they are able to set up those games far better. Today a lot of things fell. The ball was also swinging in Delhi, which did not happen in the first two games. Fazalak Farooqi was bowling a brilliant spell, and Nikhil was saying that maybe they could get in Omar Zai, which did not happen. But we can not complain today because the results there. So maybe one good change at a time, and yeah. So, and it's funny that Afghanistan, who've played so much cricket at Lucknow, will not be playing any World Cup game at Lucknow. So, but they are going to venues that they like, or they should like. 2 games in Delhi, 2 games in Chennai.
Yeah.
No,
And I
that's a
think,
very
see,
good point.
what will
Go on.
also please Afghanistan the most is the performances from others, which are very, very vital. Ikram's knock, they replaced Najibullah with him, and lots of questions, lots of doubts, very big call.
Even I had them.
Where's Najib? Najibullah, big player, but not in form. You drop him. He gives England a sniff at 25. They don't take it. He ends up getting a 50. All those small contributions. You come back to the bowling. You see the ball that Naveen bowled to Butler. Peach. It may not be discussed as much as Bumrah's to Rizwan, but it was a very vital wicket, and the manner in which he beat Jaws there, all those bits are very, very crucial. So that will be a thing that will delight Afghanistan the most. That while they had the big names coming, they had equally as much important contributions from so many other options and other players in the side. So that bodes well for them going forward, so that they can trust, okay, if I didn't do it, hopefully he can do it. So that also helps build the confidence for the side.
Absolutely, and I think lots of people are chuffed in the comments. It's just safe to say Babarov Apte, Paras Arora, Greenish Gonzalez, Harun Iqbal, honest to God, you guys are champions. So please like this particular video and subscribe. I sound like a broken tape recorder all the fucking time, but it is true. Right, I have to ask you about Harry Brook a little bit because people are going about that in the chat, Gurkirat. I know he's being dubbed as the next big thing, not just in ODI, but across formats. But could he have done anything different is what Pranav Anand is asking. I know he was displaced at the score 169 for 8, but it just makes you think, could he have kind of pulled a kind of rabbit out of the hat here, or was that still asking too much on a young man's shoulders?
See, when the spinners were on and the wickets were falling at the other end, it was difficult to ask him to, hit those big shots. I'm sure if, a pacer had bowled in between, he would have taken his chances. But with spinners, the idea was completely to try and just see, you can see out those overs and then look at others. And that's right, because that is his strength. The 100 that he had in the IPL, if I'm not wrong, he scored some 30 runs or 31 runs in 24 or 25 balls versus spinners, and the rest 69 sort of came under 30 balls versus pacers. So, if anything, I felt that he did more than decently to, play spin all right. He did not, try anything cross batted, because he knew, he could get in trouble that way. So, he really lacked support, if anything. I am reading a few comments that are saying, oh, that Moeen Ali should come in and all that, but Moeen Ali himself versus spin hasn't had a good time. If I was reading our preview, I think he averages around 19 versus spin, or 20 from the beginning of 2022. So again, and we saw Root and Livingston do more than a decent job with the ball. So I am not really sure if Moeen Ali coming in solves that problem of what they had today.
Okay. Guys, look, it's been a fantastic show, and I can't thank all you guys more in the comments. It's been fantastic, like I keep harping upon. And I think the best part about the result, guys, for a large chunk of this second innings, it seemed inevitable. And that's perhaps the greatest praise that Afghanistan can receive tonight. And thanks so much, guys, for, of course, tuning into this cricket.com match review. There's more to come, of course. Australia, Sri Lanka is a promising clash on a Monday. It comes from the Ikana. And we'll be, of course, doing the preview and review for it. Not to forget the Monday Night Live with a special Pakistan fan at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Nix will be there, Akshay will be there, and I'll be there as well. Gurkirat, you can have the final say because you're Monty Panasa tonight, are you?
Just one question I want to, know if Australia lose tomorrow, they would have lost three World Cup games on. No, they have actually lost three World Cup games on the trot already because that semi-final. When was the last time they lost three World Cup games on a trot?
Maybe the
I can't.
competition wasn't born. By the
I
way,
can't.
are you changing your top four now? Because Sanjay Papi Giri asked you a question.
See, I think it's obvious that only one of England or Australia will make it because both of us have the same top four. So let's see who is it, because as of now, what looks evident is that New Zealand again, once again, New Zealand, India, and South Africa seem to be the front runners for the first three spots, and the fourth spot could be between England, Australia, and Pakistan.
Next.
And we have to remember, England lost to Ireland and still went on to win the T20 World Cup.
Yep.
So they have this ritual that they keep doing. Even in 2019, they lost to Sri Lanka. So again, it wasn't the game that you saw them losing. So let's see. Too early, three games.
They actually lost two games to teams who did not make the semifinals. They also lost to Pakistan.
Yeah.
Indeed. Look, guys, it's just been an absolute remembering day for Afghanistan fans, and it hopefully onwards and upwards for them. And they will trot on nicely. Yes, Johnny boy, they will trot on. And who has the last laugh? Yep, he does indeed. And we were joking about Pakistan fans outside the stadium and saying, "Are you watching Pakistan?" The chant is, "Are you watching Taliban?" We'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching. It's a goodbye and good night from us. Have a fantastic week ahead. And like I said, like and subscribe. You guys have been fantastic as ever. Thanks for watching. Goodbye from us.
Yes.